Welcome, beautiful soul. It's time to remember who we are. You were born for this moment, this breath. Nature teaches us and reminds us that whatever it is that we are searching for, that whatever our hearts and souls are longing for, we must know our unlimited power and worth. It's all already within us. So thank you for saying yes to this moment. Thank you for saying yes to this journey. And most of all, thank you for saying yes to yourself. Welcome, beautiful soul. Welcome, beautiful soul. We are so grateful. I am so grateful that you have chosen to make time and space to be with us today. We're excited. Today's topic is one that I think is so timely. Why even a flicker of hope is enough. Sometimes it can seem that it's useless to hope, that hope seems so small in comparison to a Mount Everest situation. And today I hope that you consider that differently, that you consider yourself differently as we talk about hope. Of course, before we begin, we're going to do what we always do to start our time together, and that is make space for some breath. So if you are able to safely close your eyes, you're not driving, we invite you to do so. Close your eyes right now and simply notice your breath. No need to change it. We're simply noticing it. This is our time to connect with the inhale and the exhale. Every inhale is an opportunity for us to receive all that is for us, all that nourishes us, all that replenishes us, all that uplifts us. We inhale, making space to be open, to receive. And every exhale is an opportunity to let that breath move completely through every facet of our being and to release all that is no longer needed. Some of us need to let go of our judgment of ourselves and others. Maybe it's time to exhale our worry, our anxiousness. Maybe we need to simply exhale and let go of our need to control, our need to want to figure it out. We simply exhale and let go of all that is no longer needed. And breath is our time to also give thanks to ourselves for being alive, for being present, making time for yourself today. So we say thank you from us to us, from you to you. And we always give thanks to breath of life moving through us, flowing through us, and connecting us to all that is. We are grateful. And now I invite you for a 5-5-5 breath. That's simply an inhale for 5 that we'll do together. We're going to hold the breath for 5 seconds. And then we're going to exhale rather together for those 5 seconds. So let's go ahead and do a nice deep inhale for 5. And hold it. And slowly let go. Keeping your eyes closed for another few moments as you return to your normal breathing. Let's put our attention on our heart center. This is our time to connect with our inner truth, our inner knowing, to make space to listen to what is it within this beautiful deep reservoir already within us. What is it that is asking for us to notice? What message, what insight, what encouragement, what wisdom is waiting for us? We simply make space to be open. So grateful that everything that we are looking for is already and always within us. So whenever you're ready, you can come back, and if you've closed your eyes, you can reopen your eyes. Woo, it's always so delicious to make time for breath, for quiet, for stillness. Speaking of which, if you are watching us today, you may notice I have a little company. Right here to my right is my little chicken. Oh, she hears me talking about her. She lifts her head for a moment. She's had a long night. My little chicken Sierra is here with us today, resting. Such a reminder of the power of presence. I tell you, she is a model for what it means to live literally breath by breath, moment by moment. So that is who you see if you're watching the video here right next to me. Today, we also want to invite you to, if you have any questions and you are listening and watching this through YouTube, please go ahead and type in the comments section any questions that you have, because I am delighted to make space to answer what is on your heart, what is on your spirit, what it is that you would like me to discuss or answer, or something that you want to share. We please ask you to let us know and write that in the comments below. So again, today's topic is hope. And I'm going to be honest with you right off the bat. Even as I was thinking about today's topic, it's not far from my memory that there was a time when I really discounted hope. So if that's you, it's all okay. I've been there. I have some t-shirts and bumper stickers because I really looked at hope as trivial, inconsequential, weak, not necessary, that there are far more important areas for me to put my attention upon. And hope was simply at the bottom of the list, if it were even on the list at all. Because I believed that it was much more important to take action. I believed it was much more important to think about something bold like courage and strength and power. And I saw hope as the antithesis to all of that. Until ... Until, and maybe you have had an experience with this, until we fall flat on our faces, until I fell flat on my face. And I was staring at disappointment and despair in a way that I felt like all of the oxygen had been sucked from me. That all I could see was hopelessness. All I could see was sadness. All I felt was judgment from me to me, because I had a plan. And what I was experiencing was the opposite of that plan. You see, I thought that if I had everything worked out on the outside, that if I had married the right person on the outside, if I had the right job on the outside, lived in the right place on the outside, that everything would be okay. And life, of course, showed me. My inner spirit led me to have an encounter with what I was really longing for. What I was really longing for was something of substance. What I was really longing for was to feel like I had a purpose, and to know that I'm loved, it's all okay, it all works out. You think about when you watch a parent holding their child. And I was in my late 20s, and at that time I longed for an assurance, the same way a parent holds their child. And instead of leaning into that vulnerability and that longing for connection, I stayed in the shallow waters. Some of you have heard me talk about that. In the shallow waters, listening to shallow words, seeking shallow advice. And all that led me was to a place called emptiness inside of me. And I had been chasing all these other things as if that would solve and heal and fix and fill the emptiness within me. And when it did not, and I had fallen flat on my face, so far from all the plans and ideas that I had for myself, I call that the breaking open. Some of you have heard the term break down. I want to call it breaking open, because everything had shattered that needed to shatter, not for destruction. And that's the key. It was for I could be broken open, so that an authentic heart, an authentic heart song, a true purpose could begin to make itself known to me, because I had silenced all of that to chase the shallow, the outer, to chase all the things that I had been told to chase. I didn't come up with it on my own. but I was trying to play according to these false set of rules that were given to me. And I look back at that time and I say thank you, because it was what I needed to find myself. Because when you're so empty, when I was so empty, and there's nothing else that can soothe or solve or answer what it is that I was longing for, a doorway opened. And that doorway led me to see how I had so shortchanged and discounted the power of hope. Now, we don't need tons of it. You don't need to go mine it out and have truckloads of hope to make it through a dark experience, a cloudy evening, a storm, a wave that seems like it's going to wash over you and you're struggling just to breathe. A little bit is more than enough. And how do you find that little bit? Maybe that's the question that you'll type in the comments for me. How do you find that little bit of hope? Maybe some of you are wondering that. And there's no one answer. Because the good news is that as many stars as there are, even in this galaxy, Milky Way, all the stars that we're able to witness, let alone all the stars that exist, but the stars that we can even see around us at night, that's how many possibilities there are for us to connect and have an experience with hope. Because when we have an experience with hope, we are really having an experience with our true self. Your true self is designed to hope, to believe even the impossible, to dream what someone else told you could not even be dreamed and should not be dreamed. You are designed to rise, to expand, to elevate in ways that the small little mind could never understand, digest, or figure out or solve. And all it takes is a small little flicker or shift to begin to say, I don't need to chase something outside of me. I'm ready to notice and acknowledge what has already been given to me. And one of the most precious gemstones that you've already been given is hope. Where would we be without it? I know where I was without it. I was filled with some cynicism, some sarcasm. I was busy judging other people. I was busy looking at all that I did not have and letting that shape how I looked at everything else. Now, I was smart enough to cover it, right? At least I thought I was. To try to dress it up with a costume or a layer or veneer of politeness, of niceness, of sweetness, but if you looked closely and you listened closely, you would have heard and seen and sensed that I had let go of my connection with hope and had traded it for something that looked flashy but was pure emptiness. Now, we can't blame ourselves for chasing what looks flashy until and unless we have come to know the fullness of who we are, or maybe at least coming to know the fullness of who you are. The fullness of who we are, I love to sum it up with words such as, you are already perfection, wholeness, completion. You are already more than enough. And the hope, even the little flicker that you're able to connect with, is always more than enough. Now, how do you know you've connected with the flicker? Are you breathing? Then the flicker is saying, notice me. Notice me. You're breathing. It doesn't need to be this massive hit over the head, fall flat on your face experience like I described. It can be subtle. Maybe your walk in nature, as you see the wind move the branches, the leaves on a tree, as you witness a bird flying through the sky, as you look at the clouds moving ever so subtly, as you look at the colors, the majestic colors, as the earth makes its way around the sun in such a way that it looks as though the sun is rising and setting, all of those are opportunities for us to say that, wow, the same miraculous wonder that is ever present around us in nature is also ever present within us. I'm going to read a short excerpt with you from the book that I wrote called Remembering Coming Home, because that's what I believe we're all doing right now. Beautiful soul, we are all together on this journey, remembering coming home. So, what is hard to stop is her comparing herself to her own measurements of where she should be, who she should be, what she should be doing. It is another form of suffering. Or maybe it is the same. Nope. She knows that her superpower is her ability to be resilient, to carve out a bowl of hope, even when the clay is hard and brittle. She knows how to use the warmth of her hands to make it soft. She knows how to uplift and to encourage. And she thinks that by doing so for everyone around her, it is sufficient for her. She is 30 years old, and the old lessons of what is deemed selfish, focusing on herself, still make her run from her own nutrients, mistaking caring for herself as ego and vanity. These distorted lessons that keep her judging herself seep into the ground around her, as she secretly and in her own mind righteously judges everyone who never seems to worry about how their actions impact others. Like a pot of cooked spaghetti noodles, her contradictions blend from one to another, making it hard to find the beginning, thread, or threads. Thankfully, deep within her heart and her soul, there is an ember that has remained for as long, and actually longer, than her memories of those moments of existentially belonging to something far more meaningful than the inconsequential instances rolled into a one-dimensional reality. She knows there is something larger than herself, just as she has felt glimpses of it when she sat in her yellow room. A subtle pulsing that, though faint at times, fills her whole being at others. Moments when it seemed, at least to herself, as though she had been left dangling alone in the world, with more noise than substance, she would be reminded that a sweet truth still lived and connected her to far more than could be measured. In truth, there were many of these moments when it seemed so completely desolate within her whole being, when hope seemed to have been sucked out of her, and just when it seemed like she had to settle for subsisting, an inexplicable infusion filled her. Eventually, she trusted this liquid grace within herself and began to access it. Hello, liquid grace. Hello, hope. Hello, even an ember, a flicker is more than enough. Because hope doesn't show you what's possible outside of you. Maybe you start there and you think like, wow, well, maybe I can make it across this next bridge. Maybe I can make it this next mile along the road. Maybe this next step. Maybe to this next point. But ultimately, that little flicker, that little ember of hope serves as a mirror for you to see that as long as you are breathing and even afterwards, it's not over. There's more within you. An ability to believe, to co-create. How? A little gratitude goes a long way to say thank you, like we did in our beginning breath. I'm breathing. Thank you for the inhale and the exhale. Thank you for what I don't even understand. Thank you. You're thanking you, this power within you, the light within you that connects you to all light and all power. Guess where it lives? Always and already within you. There are a lot of names for it. A lot of different people have tried to define it, have tried to tell you a list of rules that you need to follow in order to access it. And I'm here to say it's so simple. It starts with, okay. Okay. Maybe is enough. Maybe that's all you can say is maybe. Maybe. Some of you are ready to say yes. Perhaps what you say is perhaps, or why not? That little flicker, the little bit of a crack of light as the door begins to open is enough for you to begin to have an encounter with yourself, to discover how phenomenal, how magnificent, how marvelous, how amazing you really are. And it has nothing to do with what's going on the outside, and everything to do with who you already are. So I invite you to begin to notice all the wonderful things about yourself. In fact, that's an exercise that I often give in different seminars and trainings. I'll ask people to write down 25 wonderful things about yourself. And some people look at me like I have 3 heads, like how could I come up with 25 wonderful things? And I say, breathe and listen. Because every beautiful word that you could ever find in a dictionary fits you. Whether you understand it, believe it, or not, it is true. You are already so extraordinary and exquisite. You are breathing, living perfection. And yes, hello, of course, we are all works in progress at the same time. And we're remembering who we really are, and the hope is our mirror. It is so powerful. Literally every other experience stands on the powerful shoulders of hope. Every beautiful seed starts with the power of hope. And that hope lives and is you. So I hope you remember this, so that on those heavy days with dark skies and moments where it seems too hard to breathe, still breathe, so that you can remember that one of your many names is hope. And just a flicker or an ember is enough for you to make it through to the next moment of discovering you. Extraordinary, wonderful, magnificent you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you like this, share it, subscribe, write down your comments below. Most of all, I hope that you are gentle with yourself. Make space to thank yourself and connect with the part of you whose name is hope. Thank you, beautiful soul. Thank you, beautiful soul, for remembering who we are and for making time and space to be with us today. As you go forward on your journey to the known and unknown places, continue to listen to your inner heart and honor your soul, because your answers are always within you. Please consider supporting us in spreading more light and love with this message by simply liking the video below, subscribing, and consider sharing as well. Most of all, take gentle care and breathe. We see you. We thank you, beautiful soul.